Memorandum to build a common home of the indigenous peoples of the Middle East. At this crucial moment we, the indigenous peoples of the greater Middle East region, whose ancestors have lived in the heart of the ancient world since time immemorial, created the first world, post-flood, civilization, laid down basic principles for the peaceful coexistence of different ethnic and religious groups, formations and disputes, declare our resolute will to end the further escalation of regional tensions by aggressive regimes, the threat of the destruction of world civilization, based on our historical responsibility for the high and noble heritage of civilization and humanity. From the moment that uncivilized tribes invaded our region from the steppe areas far beyond our eastern borders, our regional life and development have deviated from their normal orbit. As a result of the extermination of indigenous peoples, the imposition of slavery, the destruction and distortion of their spiritual and cultural heritage, the Middle East has not only failed to fulfill its sacred duty of preserving the fire of civilization, but it had become a bleeding area of the frozen civilization. It is intolerable to see how the laws of the universe, the existence of harmony with nature, the divine and creative creation, which were born in our region, have been distorted in other parts of the planet trying to justify mass destruction armament, materialism rooting, imposition of a usurious model, enslavement of the masses by lending institutions, concentration of the main material wealth and levers of power in the hands of a small groups, catastrophic scale of social inequality, so-called mechanical rationalist deformation of science, its separation into uncontrollable branches, which do not shy away from extremely dangerous elaborations, incompatible with moral and ethical norms. Enforcement of mass education systems, which produce low public responsibility citizens with superficial knowledge. Fierce propaganda of egocentrism, insatiable consumerism, separation of the individual from the community, disintegration of primary social circles, including the family, violation of traditional moral norms. Destructive exploitation of nature, relentless pollution of the environment. History has shown that the alien elements that have penetrated our region have not accepted the laws and traditions established here since time immemorial, have not respected our traditional values and faith. Alien state systems are constantly destabilizing our region with their openly expansionism. If until the 20th century Turkish leaders were to blame for the destabilization, then from the day of the creation of Israel, the leaders of the above-mentioned state joined the campaign. The serious threats to our region with long-term targeting are constantly generating in both zones. It is impossible to estimate the enormous moral damage done to Islam in the last few years by the so-called Islamic State project, which was in fact a conspiracy of the enemies of Islam with unbelievably unbridled political technologies. Foreign and alien forces in our region persistently tried to form a jihadist international to achieve their far-reaching geopolitical goals. It is not once in the last century that destructive internationals are used to dismantle systems that have been tested for millennia, the traditional pillars of humanity. 100 years ago the world was shaken by the network conspiracies of the Communist International. For several decades now, destructive actions on behalf of the neoliberal international have not stopped with their color revolutions, the imposition of crazy conventions. Through total chaos, the world is being pushed by the forces of flattening called the deep state, which, managing enormous material resources and administrative levers, are trying to impose an even stricter model of governance on the peoples of the world. The names of the internationals are different at all times, but their goals and methods remain the same. From September 27, 2020, our region was shocked by the implementation of an even more dangerous alien program. The last part of the indigenous people fighting for the right to self-determination in Artsakh was subjected to joint Turkish-Azerbaijani aggression. The offensive forces are waging their genocidal war with mercenaries of the Jihadist International, with Israeli weapons, with the political, material and military support of Pakistan.
This is a mixture of classic pop.
It is obvious that the goal of this international aggression alliance is not limited to the complete genocide of one of the oldest peoples in our region, the Armenians. The main goal is to pave the land route to the east with the achievement of Armenia to ensure the injection of fresh pan-Turanian blood into our region, which will allow them to finish what started exactly 1,000 years ago. The fate of the indigenous peoples of northern Iran, Armenian Plateau and Anatolia obviously threatens the peoples of the central and southern zones of our region. At this crucial moment, we need to call global mobilization, international consolidation to respond to the growing threat, which could finally destroy our once prosperous and civilizing region. The threat can be neutralized by accomplishing two important tasks. First, capitulation of the extremist regimes of threatening countries, freeing their peoples from the compulsion to be a dumb instrument of extremism. Second, reliably protect the borders of the region from the intrusion of foreign forces and attacks. Only in this way will be restored lasting peace in our region. Our people once again will follow the path of peaceful construction and careful development, in accordance with the divine and cosmic laws. It is the sacred mission of the indigenous peoples of our region to build and strengthen a new civilization of comprehensive responsibility, with high moral and spiritual standards. We will be ready to support all peoples who will strive to restore the cosmic laws of creation by establishing the values that have been examined for centuries and millennia in their domains, by establishing a just, universal, harmonious order.